Everyone sees the brand.
but nobody sees the build.
I'm Cindy.
And I'm Justin. And this is the Matrix Method.
All right. Welcome back to the Matrix Method. We are doing an update episode today. It's just Justin and I. We don't have a guest, but so much has happened in the last 4 months since we launched Matrix. And so we wanted to kind of just get on here and get people updated on what we're up to. And for those of you who can see us on YouTube, you can see I am in my white uniform because I started esthetician school this week. It's only been a day, one day on theory, and it was on hair removal, which is interesting. What they do is they do a rolling curriculum. So that way you can always join at any time and which is, however many each week is something different. So you'll eventually hit everything depending on where you're at. So, I mean, I can see how somebody who's not been in this industry, how it can be quite overwhelming, but it was
You got all those
interesting.
layers,
I didn't,
you got all those skin
yeah,
layers. I mean, just hair removal. Like when you say on day one you started hair removal, I came up in laser school, and I mean,
yeah.
you can call it that. There's a lot. There's a lot there. There's a lot of safety issues. There's a lot of different types of lasers, and that's just laser. That's not electrolysis and waxing and
Hmm.
shampoo, conditioner. What is that movie where he's like,
Yeah.
shampoo is better, conditioner is better? You can
And
edit
that
that
Adam
out if you want.
Sandler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think I was like waxing at the age of like 16. I would wax myself, I would wax my friends, and we just kind of figure it out. And we did not have YouTube back then. So we really had to just like learn as we go by, reading instructions and kind of figuring out. But
Now you're waxing
yeah,
nostalgic.
I
You're
am
like, dude,
because
your
I
jokes
sit
are so
there.
bad. I just had dinner
No,
with
it's
my
still
kids, so
good.
I've been on like just dad jokes, dad jokes, dad jokes. We just had an early dinner. Well, that's fun. I'm kind of jealous. Like I love school. The problem with school for me is like I need to see like a ROI like right away nowadays, at least.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Got 3 little kids and everything, but I love that. Like, I love that you're doing that. It's
Well, you love
exciting.
to learn. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think that's the
and
thing.
then
It's like if we tell our kids when they're in school, like, you are there to learn. It's not like, why am I in school? Well, you're there to learn and find something that is interesting to learn.
yeah, and keep doing keep learning. And I think what's cool is, like, us getting into the industry in the '90s or whenever it was. I imagine the class now is way more advanced than what it probably was 1997 or whatever,
Yeah.
I would think, you know? Like, why not, maybe we should be going to basic school every 10 years, like a pilot or something, right? Pilots
Yeah.
probably go to more
Yeah.
school, I would think.
Yeah, things are just more interesting. I mean, as far
Yeah.
as like videos, and I mean, now you can go on YouTube and they have those drawings where they explain something, and then it's like an artist is drawing the pictures, and it's so much. It's so entertaining, and s- like I completely get what they're trying to teach. Sitting in school and just reading a textbook, it's like, oh, this is
Torture.
torture.
Torture. I hated school so much. I loved school for the social aspect of it,
Yeah.
but sitting there, like, reading a book together. Did you guys ever do that? Like, where it'd be like, "Johnny, you read page
Yes.
50,
Yeah.
and then Sally, you read page 51." And then, like, there's a huge disparity between who can read and who can't. God bless them, but you're just like
Yeah,
you're sitting there like, "I already read it. I'm already done with the book. Can I leave?
I know,
Can I leave? Can I go make
I
some
know.
money?"
Exactly. Well, I was in college and I remember a professor said, "How many of you are A students?" Right? And these kids, raise their hands, and how many are B and how many C. And he said, the ones who are consistently A students, you will do really good working for the government because you follow directions, you probably don't question things. You're going to be good in working for the government. If you're B students, you'll probably be really good in corporate. right? Like, okay, follow, you want a little bit of freedom. But the C students were the entrepreneurs, the ones who
Yeah.
are going to, start their own business. And I think I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, and I said, the reason why I was like, I don't care what it's going to take. I am not going back into corporate. It was because I felt like I was in a cage. I felt like I was like a hamster on a wheel, just going in circles. And I felt like I was in a cage. And, yes, I could have taken another corporate job and had stability and salary and whatever, but I would have felt so trapped. And I think that's the corporate lie that society teaches you, that you have to really care about your 401k. You have to really care about your credit score. And then you get this salary and then you just try to make a life with what that they give you. But then there's no guarantee on how long that's going to last because companies can drop you at any time. And then you start realizing you're like, "Oh my gosh, like, I feel like I'm stuck." And no matter what,
Well,
you're
just
just
like
like,
the
"I
government.
feel like I just can't get out of this." Yeah, exactly.
I mean, good point.
So, yeah,
So is this your way of coming out as a C student? Were you a
it
C
is.
student?
I was a C I know, I barely passed. I mean, going to college, what's interesting though, I'm turning 50 next year, and going to beauty school, cosmetology school was what I wanted to do growing up. I love makeup. I wanted to do hair and I wanted to do facials and all of that. But, I came from an Asian family. So it's like my dad's like, no way. Like, you are going to
Right.
college. And after
You will be
college, if you
master
would
of
like to go
engineer.
to beauty school, yeah, exactly. If you would like to go to beauty school after you graduate, then you can and you pay for it. And so, of course, after college, I mean, being the kind of person, I was like, I want to start making money now. I'm not gonna, go spend another however long to go back to school. But it was always something that I've always wanted to do. And that's something that, like, when I talk to women, I'm always like, well, what did you want to be? What did you want to do when you were like between 8 to 10 years old? Because that's almost like that true heart of who you are and like your true
Yeah.
desires. And then somewhere along the line, like the world tells you differently. Teachers,
Mhm.
parents, you get married, you have kids, like you forget like who you really were. And it is freeing once you kind of hit a point. And something about midlife, I think it just it gets you back to kind of like who you really were, because you kind of hit that peak where you just don't care about what anyone else says and what you know?
Well, yeah, I think oh my gosh, who was the philosopher that said, like, every man or woman lives 2 lives, and the second one is when you
Mhm.
realize that you're not gonna live forever. Like, I think that's the realization you come to in your 40s, I think, if you've gone as far as, like, the system can take you, which I think, you were an Asian C student, which takes courage.
Which is I
Like, do
know.
your parents
Yeah,
even
I was a
know? Do your
black
parents
sheep.
know? Like, I'm sure they
I mean, I got a degree, right? And I barely passed, but I was
yeah, what was
hustling.
the
I was
slogan was
always
"C's get
working.
degrees." I remember I was terrified, like, so I'm gonna toot my own horn a little bit. I was A's all the way through, and I was terrified of getting a C, terrified.
Yeah.
And my mom's not Asian, I don't think, but she was yeah, no. But she was like, you will get A." And I was like, yeah, okay. I will, I
Yeah.
promise, I will. I people pleaser, yes, A plus. And then I finally got a C, and I was kinda like, "Well, I didn't understand this shit at all." It was like a really hard it was like honors chemistry in high
Yeah.
school. I
God.
was like A's all the way and then in high school, I get a C, and, I didn't go to, like, some Harvard of high school. I went to, like, Texas Public High School, I get a C, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Ugh," and I just
Yeah.
bailed. I just, like, pulled the hatch and just jumped into, like, a lesser class,
Yeah.
you know? I was just like, "Yeah, I can't handle this."
Well, it's all it is a recall, right? Like, I think that's really what school is. I don't know if I learned anything. I mean, whatever I wanted
Right.
to learn, I learned, and I found a way to
Yeah.
learn it. But I felt like getting grades was just like, well, how well do you recall the information that was given to you? Not
Well,
like, do you understand it? How are you going to use it?
and also, I think, well, to your point of being middle aged, is the older you get, when you're a little kid, you think that, well, these people that create the curriculum at school are brilliant geniuses. They
Hmm.
know what's best for me. My parents know what's best for me. If they're telling me I need to get a job like this and get a career like this, they must be
Yeah.
right. And then the older you get, you realize like adults are dumb, like our adults are just as screwed up. Like, and there's a lot of little children, adult grown children running around that are lost and have no idea what they're
Mhm.
doing with their life. They have kids of their own, they have grandkids, but
Yeah.
you realize
Yeah.
like, wait, everyone's just kind of winging it. Why don't I at
Yeah.
least wing it with something I like? And like, if it's time to drop out of that chemistry class, drop out. Like, there's no shame
Mhm.
in that. That's the other thing. Like when I was a kid, I was taught, do not quit. We're not quitters. We never quit. And
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
never did. I didn't quit anything till like the last 10 years or so, maybe. I don't think I ever quit anything ever because I was like, I will not only not quit, but I will rise to the top of whatever this channel is. And then finally, once I started having kids, I realized like, sometimes you just need to cut your losses and focus on, what makes you happy and like what's important.
Yeah.
And it might not be, for you. Just quit. Like, don't give up when
Well,
things get
or
hard, but
put it
like,
on hold.
right,
Yeah.
like if you're not, yeah, or if you're like
But it's like pivoting, you know?
pivoting, yeah, like if you're like, wait, maybe this isn't right for me. I was talking to
Right
someone
now.
about some of the,
Maybe right
yeah, like
now. Yeah.
I was talking to somebody yesterday who's a new client of ours, who he and I were working on a couple brands together, just selling them. And we just kept running into roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And he and I both are equipped to handle anything that can come at us in this industry. He's been in it even longer than you and I. But we both kept, and I told him, I go, you know what? I finally realized that I'm seeing all these other green lights with all these other channels, like Majors Collective,
Mhm.
our other clients, other brands. Why am I still pursuing this uphill battle of this other brand that's just not working? And
Mhm.
my own stubbornness, I keep grinding at the axe or whatever. And he goes, I realized the same thing. And he's like, he was relieved. It was like a weight lifted off of his shoulders too. He goes, I thought I was the only one that was just kind of like, screw this one. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just maybe it's just not the right time. Like you said, pivot to
It's not the
something
right
that is
time, and there has to click. Yeah.
things click when they're supposed to click, I think. That doesn't mean everything's easy, but and I think you and me and all of our listeners, all of our friends at work are willing to do hard stuff when the motivation is there. When it's something you enjoy doing and it's a challenge, but there's a reward and you know it and you're committed. That's different. But then you drive up to two railroad crossings are down. Like you don't just power through it. It'd be stupid to just
Exactly.
drive right into that railroad crossing. Like turn around, go a different way.
Yeah. Well, that was our generation. I think the Gen X, generation, we just kind of we were raised like that. I mean, we were raised very independently, right? We didn't have phones, we didn't have all of that. Like, we went out, we played with our friends. When the sun
Right.
came down, streetlights go on, you know to go home. If you're gonna stay at your friend's house, you pick up the landline, you call your parents, like, "Hey, can I stay at so and so's for dinner?" And then they pick you up after, right? Like, it was, and so you during the day, though, you're just off exploring on your own. I used to put my roller skates on, and I would go into neighborhoods, and I would purposely get lost so I can find my way out. Like,
Interesting.
it was like yeah, I would purposely get lost so I could find my way out, and then, like, near the end, when it starts getting dark and I'm like, "Okay, shoot, I'm really lost in this neighborhood, I can't
Right.
get out," then I had to go up to like, I see an open garage, and I'm like, "Hey, like, where's whatever road, like, the main road," you know? And so it forced me to take initiative, problem solve, right? Like, "Hey, it's about dark. I don't have I don't have anything. What can I do at this moment?" And it was like, "Okay, you ask for help and you go up to a stranger and
Figure it out.
you let them know." Yeah, and you figure it
Right,
out.
you just figure it
And
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
It
the
is
things that like my
yeah,
well,
yeah,
the
go
things
ahead.
that my kids now ask me, I'm like, "I don't know, figure it out." Like, "What how do you think that's done?" Like, you guys have so many resources that we never had. Like, and it's like, "You're asking me." I'm like, "I don't know. I'm gonna tell you to look it up online anyway, so look it up online."
Ask
Right?
ask ChatGPT,
I know. They have everything at their fingertips, and yet they still ask us,
you
like,
know?
these questions.
Cool. At least they're asking.
True.
That was I feel like when we were kids, that was Google. You just ask your parents, and then
Yeah,
if they don't know,
I know,
they're
and you
like
just like
you just be like, "Shit, it's just a mystery. It's just a mystery."
I know, I know,
Or
but then
it's in the
your
encyclopedia.
parents oh my
We had the
gosh, I
encyclopedias. Did
know.
you have the whole volume? And then you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
do a book report on presidents," and it stops at, like, Gerald Ford, and you're like,
oh my
"And
gosh,
after
I
that,
know.
I'm going off of
I
memory."
used to love encyclopedia. Yep,
And
it
then
was cool, it was like learning.
did you get the Encarta, encyclopedia on your family computer? Like, we got a
I don't
family computer,
remember.
like, towards the end of living at home, and
Yeah.
we got, like, a CD of Encarta Encyclopedia 1995 or whatever it was. You, like, put it in, and it was like, "Ooh, there's more presidents after Ford. I can learn." It was fun. There was, like, games. You could, like, mash the dinosaurs, and shout out to Encarta. Buy Encarta stock.
Yeah, it was a different time. And I think
Mm.
that's why we are having so much fun doing what we're doing, and it is like I mean, I'll admit, like, I have times where I'm just like, "Oh my gosh," like, there's so much, and you feel that the mountain that you're trying to climb is so high, and then, somebody that's why I think having good people in your life is so important. Like, randomly, I'll get a note or message from somebody just like, "Hey, like, I love what you're doing." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." Like, I love that, because even this, what we're doing, all the social media, it doesn't come easy. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, I cringe every single time I have to post something, but you move through it. And it's like in the uncomfortableness is where you grow. And I'm a very system person, right? So I'm studying how to have an effective post, like learn about hooks and scripts and call to actions and this and that and trying different ones. Like I have my own, TikTok, and I use that kind of to practice, right? And I'll just kind of talk about all kinds of random things. But that's the way of marketing now, right? Like, and we are marketing ourselves because our company is basically us. Like, we're the value proposition. It's us, So I mean, how do you get Matrix out there? We gotta put ourselves out there, and it's totally
You're doing a good
uncomfortable,
job of that.
but we do it. Gosh, I'm pushing through
I need
it,
to get
man.
better.
It's
We talked about this earlier, but I need to get better at it.
yeah,
Starting to get comfortable in my own skin more, I guess.
yeah,
But I've been getting the same kind of text though too, and from people that aren't really on social media too. They're just talking to each other
yeah.
and saying, "Hey, I heard Justin and Cindy are and we've got like what 30 up and coming brands, and that's just the ones we're like really
My
working with.
gosh,
We got 20 more behind it. We're getting referrals all
yeah,
day, every day.
and
And shout out to all of our referral partners sending people our way. We
I
really
know.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Can't
we're
wait
so
to return the
grateful.
favor. We do as much as we can. Like it's
Yeah.
amazing. What's
It
not
does take
happening
us
at
a
this
little
clip when
longer.
you're in corporate?
Yeah, and it does take us a little longer to kinda, like, respond to emails and things just because it's our company is all AI. Our receptionist is an AI. I've tried to
Up into a point,
modernize or streamline. Yes, yes,
right? And then it stops at us. We're
you
like,
know.
"Ugh," and you're like, "Hey, did you do this?" I'm like, "No." We're almost
I
like it.
know.
That's where it bottlenecks is
Yes,
once
yeah,
the AI
and I
hands it
keep
off
trying to
to us.
find Yeah, and I try to find solutions. I mean, I know like in our industry, NDAs are just every day. I don't know how many NDAs we send out because everybody we talk to, we get them to sign NDA. And I was getting so sick of having to manually like put in fields like the name and I would miss something. So I used AI to create our fill in. So all you have to do is put the name and the email and it populates everything on the contract. It goes to the person, they e-sign it and then a copy of it goes to them as a PDF and then to me. And I just did that with our master agreements, which made it
Yeah,
so much easier because it's
easily
like
saves
just
5 to 10 minutes.
filling
Yeah,
in the fields instead of having to like read all of those small fonts. And I can't see well either. Like I need my glasses. And there's things I miss. So that's where I think AI is really helpful.
agree. I mean, you've done things that previous companies I worked with took months and months and months and thousands of dollars to build. Right? Like I'm not saying like,
I know.
it's all a work in progress, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, not only were we doing like these menial tasks and like, and already, like think about, when I watched like Mad Men, like the world was
Yeah.
obviously way different back then, right? But like, if you had a docu-sign back in Mad Men times, you would just put it on the desk of your secretary and say, "Hey, Betty, please send this to so and so. Send it to New York or whatever." And like,
Mhm.
but by the time we fast forwarded to 2020, whatever, and we're in like the corporate world, like, I don't know about you, I had kind of some big jobs and big titles, but like I didn't have a Betty. I had help.
Mhm.
I had some reliable people. I had a good sales
Mhm.
admin, but even then it was kind of like we spend so much time doing like this menial stuff. I love that we have AI for this stuff now. I think it
Yep.
really does. People are right to be scared about it and like trepidatious, but it really does make us more productive.
Yeah, I
If we
don't
were doing
I
if we were
think
doing
it
long form documents on top of everything we're trying to do at Matrix, that would be tough.
oh gosh, no. Yeah, and I would not even wanna do that. I would just do something else for our matrix. I'd be like, "Okay." Nope. I think our master
Mess
agreements
decisioning
are like
all
the
day.
yeah, yeah, and it's like AI can do it so well, and all you have to do is learn how to do it. But again, I have the foundational knowledge of what I need to do, right? Like the last two big companies I was with, I was there when Salesforce was implemented. So I worked with the Salesforce team to make sure it was set up the right way and it was, what we needed and all of that. So like I had foundational knowledge of how a program is supposed to set. So when I created our own CRM, I knew how to set it up. But if you've never done that, like then even your AI may not be as efficient because it still needs you to tell it what and how to build it and what to link.
Well, I do think us like Gen Xers and I'm like an early millennial, I think they call it. We're in a better but what's interesting because like the other millennial like there's millennials that are only like 5 years younger than me that have a really hard time functioning
Yeah.
within technology because they
Mhm.
came about just in a time where like everyone had a phone, everyone had internet. Like
Mhm.
we were still anchored in that figure it out time. Right?
Mhm.
So that now, we were in there in the room figuring it out with the software engineers at our old jobs,
Mhm.
and now we can do that, and we can teach the AI to do that, and
Yep.
I do worry about those people where they're like, "Look, I just speak to Siri, and she just takes care of it."
And they don't know the why. They can't question what's wrong. Like, we talked about that, I think, when Kelly Rodriguez was on with us. I'm like, "They're not questioning AI, and they're just accepting it."
In the world of fractional consulting and now peeking, like, behind the curtain into different companies,
Mhm.
and I do at Matrix, for those who don't know, as if, I don't know, maybe we have some random listeners out there, I don't but, I do a lot of, like, the recruiting for the salespeople, right?
Yes.
Matching them with the clients, and you can to me, it's so obvious when someone's resume or the job description has been written by AI because you go, "No one talks like this." Like, when they say the job description,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Shelly's job description is she will communicate across synchronicities of departments." And you're like, "Sorry, what was that? Synchronicities of between what?" Like, it's all jargon, like,
Yeah.
ChatGPT
Yep.
was like, "The best
Exactly.
jargon I can find," yeah. You're like, "Okay,
Yeah.
let's cut that. Let's cut the fat here. Just tell me what the job is."
Yeah.
For salespeople, just tell us what their commission is.
Yeah, that's true. I know. Like, what's the
It's
pay?
funny though,
You know what you do.
I taught my parents how to use ChatGPT to plan a road trip. And they were like, "We heard you guys." I don't know if they listen to our podcast or what. What's up, mom and dad? Cindy's mom and dad. Sorry about the C's. Yikes. No, like, so they were like, "We're scared though. We heard on TV." To them, TV is the truth,
Yeah.
right?
I don't think I've ever opened my TV except to watch YouTube for a Pilates
I don't
class.
either. I feel like I'm like,
I know.
"Am
Yeah.
I doing it wrong?" Because I don't
Yeah.
even the Spurs are in the playoffs last night. I didn't even watch it. What am
Yeah,
I doing? I do
I don't know
everything on my
I
phone.
don't know anything that's going on. Yeah, like, the only thing
Truly.
is, like, I open up YouTube, I have a Pilates machine at home, and I turn the TV on for my Pilates YouTube video, and then all I do is I listen to podcasts. I don't ever turn the
Same.
TV on.
Yeah.
It's
Or,
crazy. Yeah.
I curate my feed. I go to podcasts for political news and, like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I just told my parents, I'm like, I don't know. Like, what did they were like, well, we were watching Fox and it said that, AI they said some crazy thing about all the founding fathers were, you know, extra diverse or something, like some crazy story, right? That ChatGPT made Thomas Jefferson an African American woman or something weird, some kind of like scary, just propaganda, clickbait type stuff. And I
Yeah.
go, no, no, like, well, I go, listen, I'm going to give you a simple task to try ChatGPT. And I go, and the reason I'm giving you this task is because you can check it against
Mhm.
a map or a Google or whatever. So I was like, here's the prompt I want you to give it. I just gave him a basic like trip itinerary prompt.
Mhm.
And then I said, and then I want you to check your work. Like use a different computer and like Google it and or pull out the atlas and like make a map yourself and just then for sure. And I was like, and if you're still not sure, like send it to me and I'll double check it.
Yeah.
And like they did it and they went on the trip and they were like, oh, it was amazing. We got like the best Airbnb deals. We got like great ideas. What I'm like,
Uh,
that's exactly what it's for. Like,
say
right. Don't trust it
I mean, for
inherently.
them. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like, right. The point is like explore these things, but don't trust them inherently.
Exactly.
Understand too the results you get are biased. They're right. They're paid for by someone, right?
Well, and every one of the language models functions differently, and it depends which one do you use the most, how trained they are. I think I told you I created an AI faith-based coach. So faith is really important to me, and I work with some women and help them, in their careers and stuff. And so a lot of like my coaching is all faith-based. And so I trained an AI thought on the way that I would coach, my philosophies, my thinking. And this AI coach, you can actually type in whatever scenario you're going through. And it doesn't have to be work. It could be like personal issues. I tested it the other day and I said, if I am struggling with my daughter who that's not my daughter. It's like a friend of mine whose daughter
Someone
lied
else
to
does.
her. Yes, it is. It's not my daughter, but my friend's daughter lied to her about like taking out their car and then they caught them and all of that. And so he said, let's test it on my AI coach. What would my AI coach tell you? And so we wrote it down in the scenario and it would give you this whole dialogue about like, oh, like, yes, I can see how you're upset. But these are the things you have to remember. And then here's a script by script, word for word script that you can use to talk to your daughter. And then you can like, okay, and then you can go and respond back like, "I talked to my daughter and this is what happened." And then it will go and talk back again to you about like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm glad that you were able to talk and, think about like maybe what she's going through, like maybe there's a reason why she lied to you or whatever it is." And it was really fun. And sometimes like when I'm going through things, I will go onto my own AI coach and I'll
I
type
was
a
gonna ask, are
scenario.
you like, hey, what would Cindy do here?
I
Or like,
know,
well, look,
because
you're not always
well,
at your
that
best. Like, right? Like, so you could be
yes.
like having a
Yeah,
real cloudy day where you're just like, right? Or I'm
yeah,
stressed out. I'm not
yeah,
thinking clearly. And you could just be like, hey, AI
yeah.
Cindy, what would you do in this situation?
I
And she'll
know.
be like,
Well,
first
and
of
that's the
all,
thing,
yeah.
like, don't you ever feel that when people come to you for help, right? Don't you ever feel that, like, you could see their situation so clearly, and you're like,
Yes.
"Oh, yeah,
Because
I
your
can see
emotions
what's
aren't tied
going
up in it.
on." Exactly, so you see everything, but when it comes to your own life, you're just like, "I don't know." It's all over
Yeah.
the place, so
Yeah,
when
that's
I'm
a good
going through
point.
things, I talk to myself, but I'm not crazy, talking to myself. I'm talking to the sane Cindy that I've trained to be
Right.
logical
That is
and
interesting.
supportive.
That's a look,
I know I gotta
your parents should be proud of this. I know you kind of missed
I
on
know,
me
I'm a C
school, but
student.
But hey,
I know.
that's pretty cool. That might have saved me a lot of money on therapy, honestly. If I made an AI
Yeah.
like best me, like, hey, the me that's not pissed off right now, the me that is, focused and Christian like and all the
Yep.
good things, not super sleepy and upset. Yeah, that's smart. Wow, what's is
I know.
your
I gotta
AI
I'll have to send it to you because I mean
well, is this available? This is available,
yeah, yeah.
like, can you get it on the App Store?
I know it's a weird no, I am gonna work with a developer to put it in as a native app because I used AI to build it as a web browser app because it's just easier to build something as a web browser, and I just did it for fun, but it was actually really cool, so I was like, "Okay." So I do have, like, my personal site, it's cindykeys.com, and then on there, there's a, faith-based AI coach, and you can click on that, and that takes you to the page with the AI coach. And so there's, like, 2 options. There's, like, a free option where you still get the coach, I mean, you still get some of the dialogue, but, you don't get, like, the word for word, and then there's, like, a subscription to it. And then so, yeah, I have to work with a developer to get that because I came out with, like, 2 other apps, right? Like, so I told you, about brain files, which, it's, like, for ADHD mind dump, because when it's like the Post-it note, but in an app. So
Which I
and we're
love.
gonna
I
actually
still
talk
haven't of
to
course, I haven't focused enough to integrate it with, all my other like, my calendar and all that, but even just as a
yeah.
note taker, like you said, like a brain dump, it's great, and it's like it's smarter than just your notes app, which I've been using for years. Like, I have probably 10 years of iPhone notes, and boy, if you
Yeah.
ever found my body and just read those notes, like, "Oh, I'm dead," and you just found you'd be like
Yeah.
and it's kinda like, I'm imagine what AI is learning about us now. It's just like
I know.
all of our consciousness getting sucked into this, supercomputer or whatever.
I know. Well, my use Claude the most, and Claude knows when I'm in one of my zones. He's like, "Okay, you're in one of your creative zones right now, but it's 12 o'clock. You need to go to sleep because tomorrow you have to be ready for blah 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 blah." And I was like, "You know what? You're right."
You're right.
But
We
yeah,
we need to we
and
need to
that's
make
what
a AI we need to make, I know people are doing this kind of on an amateur level and with mixed results.
yeah.
But what if we took, like, AI faith-based Cindy coach, and we merged that with, like, your favorite therapist and your favorite, like, pastor or your favorite priest or whatever you call it, spiritual leader, whatever, and, like, created some sort of just a sidekick. And you're like, "I did that already." I don't know. Wouldn't that be cool, though?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
But then
I think
again
it's where the
yeah, then again
information is coming from, right? So, the information that I use to train, like it took many hours of like going through lots of different situations and like this is what I would advise. This is what I would do. This is what I've been through. And it kind of trains and it looks at patterns and it uses that. But I think that the thing is AI is great if you use it to solve your own problems. And that's what I did, right? Like I created that and I created brain files. It's brainfiles.app app. And right now it's a web browser app. It's still free. So anybody who wants to go on there and they can use it, it's still free. I haven't turned it into a native app yet. I will, but right now it's still in beta version. But it's great because once you link up your calendar and your emails, when I was testing it, I had an email. I had to like email somebody. I think it was like a prospect, and it showed up there, and AI generated the response. And so I just told it. I said, "Hey, create an email to so and so about whatever, whatever." It generated that email. So all I had to do was go in and read and edit and change anything. But it created the email, and all I had to do was like press one button, and it just sends it through my
right.
email app.
You're basically just proofreading it, you're tweaking it, and the more you use it, the
Yeah,
better it
and it
gets
just
at kind of like, "Well, that's what I would've said."
exactly, and it's been really right on because and it's great because in your car, you can actually so you can set shortcuts. So, your phone, like Siri, you can set shortcuts. So, like for me, I'm like, if I'm driving, I'm like, "Hey, Siri, open Brain," because I've created the shortcut for my Brain Files app, and it's called Brain. So, I'm in my car and I'm like, "Hey, Siri, open Brain," and then and I would like press the microphone button. I would just talk what I needed to say, and then it files and then it puts it into like a task. It has like tasks, appointments, calendar, research, things that you have to look up, ideas, things that you want to like look into
Yeah,
more.
and you
And it
can
takes
prioritize your tasks and do checklists.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly. You can
it's
do
cool.
tags and it's like it just offloads what's in your mind so you can move on and be in the present. And when you're ready, you can go back when you're ready to send an email, look at your calendar, you have some time you want to research something and it's all there. So, yeah, it's
Have you ever do you still do I mean, now that you're fully integrated, do you still do mental checklists? Like, "Okay, I need to go get dog food, cat food, pick up the dry cleaning." Are you still trying to do that out of
well, I
habit, or are
try and
you at this point, are you just like,
yeah.
"Yo, Siri, tell
I
brain,
know. It's like,
set
"Hey,
this."
Siri, open brain." I know I try not to because I think that's what the cause of a lot of anxiety came from,
Yeah,
right? It's like you're constantly trying to remember something, you don't wanna forget it, and I mean, I'm, again, going to be 50 next year, so I am in that menopause stage, and the brain fog and, like, forgetting things is real, and there's really
sure.
nothing
Well,
right? And so it's
yeah,
frustrating.
your brain is like short access RAM. It's like there's only so much you can try and keep track of, and sadly, folks, I feel like the older you get, the harder it is to keep it all together.
Yeah,
You keep walking into
you're
rooms
about
going,
to
"Wait, why did I go into this room again?"
yeah, or
Do you
you're
have
about
that?
to, like, send a text to somebody, and then you get a ding for something else, and you're like, "Oh, what's that?" And then you forget you were supposed to respond. And this is how you
Yes.
can tell you have good friends, right? Good
Mhm.
friends are the ones where they've texted you, and you may not text them for, like, 5 days until you have something that you need to tell them, and you realize you never responded to their text, and they don't get mad. That's a real
Yeah,
friend.
I would say and client and business partner. I mean, like, I think we all
Yeah,
need to be like, we can't be just,
yeah,
totally complacent. I
yep.
get accused of that. Like, you probably noticed that I take forever to respond to texts for that very
That's why
reason.
I don't mind sending you a reminder t I'm like, "Hey, did you respond
Yeah,
to so and
odds
so?
are
Hey."
yeah, probably not. And you know what? I'll tell you this, if you didn't hear a direct confirmation from me, it's safe to assume that no, it's on that
But,
99% list of shit I haven't done yet.
but the
But that's
good
okay.
thing
We'll get to
though
it.
yeah, and the good thing about what we do now is we are working with other entrepreneurs though too. So there's like this level of we get each other, right? Like, "Okay, I'm sorry, like, I did not respond to you right away." You get it because you're in the same boat. And even I mean, everybody we work with and some of them come from very, very large billion-dollar corporations. But they're now in the entrepreneur stage, working with a startup brand or a new brand. And so it's like the expectations are so different. And everything is like almost everything we do is like by text. And you have this
Yeah.
kind of more comfortable relationship with everyone because you're all working together for the same thing and you get through all of that corporate red tape and BS, all the things that like waste time, right? And all of the, like, sensitive I don't know, like,
Well,
that
and you're on the
email was
go
a
too,
little
like, you're not,
passive aggressive.
yeah, and it's like, we're all just got jobs to do, and we're not, like, in our
Yeah,
cubicle from 9 to 5, and you know exactly where that person is, like, we're all on the go, juggling a lot, and I think everyone kinda just gets each other that way, and
mhm.
that's why I don't have notifications on my text because every time I get that ding, I just can't resist. I just can't resist. If I get a notification, I'll be in the middle of, you know, I don't know, something serious, like, and then, ding, and all of a sudden I am jumping to whatever that ding was, no matter how silly, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Or just turn
hey,
the
can you pick up
volume off,
eggs on the
but
way
then it's like
home? And you're like, yeah, I'll get the eggs. And then you're like, wait,
yeah.
I was in the middle of closing a deal. Oops.
What my daughter started doing because sometimes, when I'm focused on something, like if I'm on a call, like I try to put my phone aside so I'm not, being distracted. And when I'm in the zone, and I don't pick up the phone because it's on silent, my daughter started using the find my what
I
was
go,
it? Find my location.
yeah, where you hit
And
the
you can
Apple Watch, it goes beep beep
yeah,
beep.
Yeah, and it pings, and I'm
Mhm.
like, "What is that noise?" And it's like, "Oh, she's trying to ping my phone." And then I see her text, and she's like, "I need you." I was like, "Oh, sorry."
Right. You get in there and she's like, "Do we have milk?" And you're like, "This is what
Yes.
this is what you
Yes.
pinged me for?" Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
I know.
yeah. You know how many times we've been on
Crackheads.
calls and I'm like, yeah, they call once. I'm like, okay, might not be like 2, 3 times and they keep calling. You're like, okay, something's really wrong.
Something's wrong.
Like, you know what? Let me get off. Let me call them back. And it's like, um, did did you get the email about whatever? Whatever?" I'm like,
Right.
like, unless this is not an emergency. I'm sorry.
That's funny. We had a saying at a company I worked at that was it was really small, so everyone was very hands-on. It was a startup. So we were all working like round the clock. And but one of our owners was, a worker. Like and we all were, but like she would be like 2 a.m. Hey, what's going on? And
Oh my gosh.
at first I was like trying to keep up with it.
Mhm.
And then one day, like I get up in bed and I'm like, let me respond to these midnight texts or whatever.
I know.
And my wife goes, "Aren't you in aesthetic medicine?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Like, this
And
is not
she goes, Are there's no emergencies in aesthetic medicine. And I was like, "Fair
very
point."
true. Yeah.
Go, look, it is an important issue we do need to address, but we could probably do it in the morning. You're right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, there are too. Like people do die on the table sometimes.
True.
Bad things
Yeah.
do happen in our
But
world,
it's
but
not well, I think
not likely.
and it's also the
And not really our problem.
corporate yeah, exactly. But it's also the whole corporate part of I mean, I used to be on the phone in meetings, gosh, all day. So the only time I have to get any work done is in the evenings. And so I would try to get all of my emails, respond to everything. Like I don't expect people to respond, but I realized later on in my career that the if you are a manager or above, if you have a team, just delay your send till the morning
Yes. Yes.
because,
Agreed.
you might be like, okay, it's, 12 o'clock your time and you're sending this email so that you can get it out. You have no expectation of people responding. It does put the pressure on people, on your team to be like, maybe they have their notification on. And so then they're like, oh, I have to respond at like 12 a.m. And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned when I went into management was realizing that depending on your role, like the way
Yes.
people,
Yeah,
respond is
understand the
very different.
gravity. Right, you have to understand, like, the power dynamic. That was a hard lesson for me too, especially I got this thrust into management, I don't know. I got into sales management. I was poorly trained in management. I had
Mhm.
no business being in management yet, no real training in that. I was just, like, the best sales guy around and, like,
Yeah.
willing to take on the challenge, just kinda like, That's what the company needs? Great, let's go." Um And then one of many lessons that I learned too was also that to go, wait a minute, like it takes a lot of empathy too to go, wait a minute, if someone who controls my livelihood in this way was sending me an email at 2 a.m., I'm starting my day with anxiety, right?
Mhm.
And you go, wait a minute, I don't want more anxiety in my life. Why would
Mhm.
I, even though this is the best time to catch up on my emails, sending an email to a subordinate, and I don't believe
Mhm.
in these
Cool.
terms, but that's how you
Yeah.
feel when you're like,
With
"Shit,
somebody
the
on your team.
CEO."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've been
Yeah.
there too, where you had, like, a weird boss, like,
Mhm.
I
Yes.
had a boss, great guy, loved him, but every now and then we would get, like, a drunken email, like, at, 2 or 3 in the morning that would be like,
Gosh.
"UMFs need to step it up," or whatever, and I'd be like, "Oh, yeah, like, we're right on it, boss, I swear I got a great pipeline." And one day I was like, "Don't do that to people."
Mhm.
Now we do have that feature of and now one of the cool AI tools I like too is even on regular Outlook or whatever, like on Microsoft, it's like, "Sure you wanna send this right now?"
Mm.
Like,
Like
even if you're
it
sending it at
reminding you
6 PM, it reminds you like, "This person's
it's
office
after
hours is
hours.
That's good. Boundaries. It helps with boundaries. Boundaries are good, right?
Yeah, and it's a human mistake. I think most people that go into sales managers were not really trained to be a sales manager, and because most of them became a manager because they were really good as a sales rep, and not everybody who's a good sales rep will make a good manager because your role is completely different. You are no longer the individual contributor.
You're a
Your
coach.
job is not yeah, your job is to coach other people and
Mhm.
to build them up and teach them. So it's so different. And I wish there was more roles that allowed people to kind of grow in their career, but not necessarily have to go into management. Cause it seems like that's kind of the linear
Right.
trajectory. If you want to grow with a company, you want to be, here one day, it's like, oh, you got to be a rep and you got to be a manager. And then you move up and director and, all that to the VP. Like, I wish there was some way to like get people. I don't know what that would look like, but
Yeah, I do
it's
like,
hard 'cause
this is one of the things we're exploring with, one of the new companies that we're involved with, Medroads. Matrix isn't super involved yet, but I know we will be. It's more of like a pod approach where you're all kind of on the same sales team, but then there's a mentor
Mhm,
who's like a veteran rep. I mean, and you could look at this in the same kind of stratified layers, but it's really not. The system is really designed to be more like a coach player
mhm,
relationship, or even, the veteran quarterback who, they might not be in their athletic prime anymore, but they're the
mhm.
captain of the team because they're super smart. They've seen everything before, and you have all these young players, and it's time to coach them up and kind of teach them the ropes a little bit with the idea of like letting them free. That's the other thing. That's the other thing I learned as a
Yeah.
manager early too is like let your people free. Like don't ever try
Mhm.
to hold them down. Like if you're worried that
Yeah,
that person is so good they might take your job, then they're great. That's a great person,
yeah,
right? Like you
yeah,
should bring that person in closer, right? And learn as much as you can from them and prop them up, right? Like, and you have to, and that could cost you a bunch of money in the short term too, like in sales. Like if you're like, but when they would call me and say, "Hey, I think I'm going to work somewhere else," and it's like it's a step up. You go,
mhm.
"Great, I support you. Like, good for you. Congratulations. Good luck." Right? And then the rep's like, "Really? I thought you'd be upset." Upset. This is a free country,
Yeah,
like, follow your dreams. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't have anything better to offer you, like, if I don't have a counter offer, like, c'est la vie, like, good luck, like, let's keep in touch.
Yeah,
I have a ton of people
it's
like
what's
that
best
in
for
my
you.
Rolodex.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, and I think people don't realize is you will not be able to move up to your next step unless you have somebody who can replace your current step. So when you keep thinking of your team or members of your team are a threat to you, well, guess what? You're going to be stagnant. Like you're never going to be able to move up because because you don't have anybody to kind of like take over your part.
I mean, to me, that's bad manager 101, and I've been a bad manager before, like, I know it when I see it. And I know it when I see it. We've all had one, we've all been one,
Mhm.
that's how you
Mhm.
get better is by sucking at things and learning from it.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, I talk to people at the companies that we're, getting referrals from, and they
Yeah.
say something like that, like, "My boss is, like, always stabbing me in the back," and I'm like, "Well, they
Oh,
ain't
that's
gonna be your boss
horrible.
for long," you know? Like, sounds like this person is really insecure and they're worried, like,
Yeah.
so I would just do your job and don't follow that person's lead because 'cause they're not leading.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, and a lot of people don't realize like leading is not just about control. It's like I would stay and work late and do more if I felt that the person I was working for was like a good person and respected me and knew what I was doing. I don't have to. I could shut off at 5 PM, 6 PM, whenever, and just not answer my phone and not respond to you. But I'm more willing to work for somebody that does that. And it's unfortunate. I think, we see, gosh, it's like every single day I hear from people who are unhappy in the companies they're with because of poor leadership. They put like people are in leadership roles from industries that and where they don't understand this industry, or they're just there in the leadership role because they've been at the company a long time. I don't know. Like tenure is never the reason to promote somebody. Not in corporate. And
No,
probably never, it
I don't think, I look at that, and I think that comes from like academia.
mhm, yeah.
You tell me, you're the student.
I'm the C student.
Uh-huh.
And English is not my first language, so there's a lot of times my accent will come out of nowhere, and I'm like, "What did I just say, and why did I say it like that?"
I mean, you should get some extra points for that, right? Like, if your parents
Right?
get mad, you'd be like, "You dumped me here speaking Chinese."
I know. I started 1st grade not knowing any English. I sat in a room. I lived in Irvine in the early '80s, and there was, like, not the only other Asian family was my uncle's family, and they had no ESL program. I had 1 hour a day in a room by myself watching a TV about to learn English. Like, that's how I learned
Wow.
English.
What were you watching? I gotta know that. You're watching,
It was
like,
like just it was like a teacher. It wasn't, like Ni
it
Hao
wasn't
Kai
like
Lan or
shows.
something. No, it was just like
You're
a
not watching, like,
literally
Match,
no.
you know?
It was a teacher. I don't know, just like talking ABCs or whatever, and I just sat there for like an hour and then I'd go back and
I wonder, I was watching my daughter. Your kids probably didn't have this girl. She got famous during COVID, Miss Rachel.
okay.
Miss Rachel is famous. If anyone has little kids, you know Miss Rachel. But she's new. She's pretty new to the scene. Like, my 6-year-old didn't have Miss Rachel, but my 3-year-old, Miss Rachel's like a second mother to her. And I wonder
Okay.
if ESL kids, because she was like trained in like speech therapy, and she
Mm,
started making videos during the lockdown on YouTube. And she said she enunciates, and she's teaching kids how to talk and read and sing. And so
yeah.
she'll just be like, this is a cow. Cow says moo. And she look like they go in tight on her face, and she's like, moo. Like, and I'm like, I wonder if you plopped a Chinese kid in front of that, or like a Mexican
Yeah.
kid or something. Like, will you learn English like
And they
this? I imagine you would. Yeah.
yeah,
I know my
what
daughter
you
did. My daughter
learn
learned English that way.
yeah, you learn by just hearing it every day, right? And observing. And that's why when I first came to the US, it's like if you have a disadvantage in English, you use your other senses. So I spend a lot of time watching people's behavior, how they acted, the tone of their voice. So I'm able to read body language really well, able to read between the lines. And I think that's why I'm good in analytics, right? I can look at numbers, be like, well, I see what
Yeah.
these numbers tell me, and it's not just what do you see right now. Like, hey, take a look at it this way. So, yeah, you just kind of develop certain strains in areas where because you have limitations in others, but it all works out at the end.
It does seem like the Asian kids do have a numbers advantage.
I
Is it
know,
true,
and
or is
that
that a
wasn't
is that a
me.
stereotype?
I mean, it's
Like, you have
true.
like
I'm just
you see an abacus, and you can use it as a
no.
calculator. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, those kids can. My
That's pretty
problem
amazing.
is I don't know what it's called, but it's like where you're dyslexic with numbers. That was me. I
Yeah,
was never I was
dysgraphia.
not a yeah, like I
I think
was
that's what
not
yeah,
diagnosed with it, right? Because Asian parents don't take you to get diagnosed for ADHD, none of that. But if you tell me a number, I will always write it down backwards because I process the last number you said. So if you're like 456, I will write 654 because that's the last number I heard and I will write. So accounting was not my thing. But even when it comes to numbers, right? Like with analytics, that's why it's not, but analytics is not math, right? You can use Excel, you can use stuff to formula, but it's the way that it's the patterns in the numbers and what it says. That's what I'm good at, not the math part. Yeah.
I mean, that's not easy. I feel like the people
No.
who are really good at math, it's a superhuman strength. It's like a superpower. Like, I grew up, with
Yes.
people. Some of my roommates in college, like, were just brilliant. Like, actually, I lived with 4 dudes, and 3 of them became doctors, and I'm the
Wow.
other one, right? I was the John Belushi character of the group, from Animal House. But one of our roommates, who's a tenured professor engineer, like amazing engineer and professor of it. I mean, numbers are just like fluent, like
Yeah.
someone who has an absolute grasp of a foreign language. He's got an absolute grasp of numbers and spatial awareness of like I would go in his room and like borrow a pen and then put it like 1 inch to the right of where it was. And he'd be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, did you come to my room?" You're like, "Yeah, I borrowed your pen for a second." And he'd be like,
Oh god.
I
Yeah.
literally put it back like an inch away from wherever it was. Like,
My
I
god.
could care.
Well, spatial awareness is something I'm not good at, and which I actually think a lot of Asians are not good at, which is why
I've
it's
heard that.
hard for us to drive and park. Like,
I've heard that.
I I don't honestly, like, I do not know why. I will look at the 2 lines in a parking spot, and I'm trying to turn, and I'm always, like, too far left, too far right. Like, I was like, "How did I not s" but so this is why I have a Tesla. This is why you come to
Yeah,
Irvine,
you're perfect
and
for
it is
that.
mostly Asians, and we all have Teslas because the Tesla can park and drive better than we can ourselves.
And so you were saying that when you were a young Asian in Southern Cal, is this you and like your uncle's family? And then now it's like
Yeah.
a ton
Oh
of
gosh.
Asians? Like what happened? What happened there?
I don't know. I mean, it was like so we were there early 80s. I came down in 97. I went to school in Southern California. And yeah, I don't know. Like it's kind of crazy. It's like all of a sudden, Orange Irvine especially just kind of like we all just came. There's really good food out here. There's really good
Weather's
food
good.
out here now.
Asians do cook great. And we had one whole Asian friend, like in all of high school, and his mom was far and away the best cook. And
Yeah.
once we graduated, she started like a restaurant, and it's like the most popular sushi restaurant to this day.
Wow.
Sushi and other stuff. But like, and half of their menu, she would just cook at her house, and we were always there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I went to University of Texas in Austin, which is only 45 minutes from where I grew up. And I don't know exactly what the numbers were, but I had never seen so many Asians in my life.
Wait till
And
you
like
come to Irvine.
and like ESL and like not speaking English either.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
like they were here on like student visa or whatever.
Yep.
And then I don't know where they went after. Like I graduated and they were all gone. Like I guess they went back home
A lot of well, that's the thing. A lot of them have
kicking ass.
parents who own companies, like, back home, and so they
Yeah.
come to the US and they get their degree, and then they go back and they run their manufacturing company. Um, but alright, well, it is almost time for me to go to my night school. My
Night
husband's
school,
like yeah, he's like, "How's it going?"
beauty
I'm like,
school
"Well, it's
dropout.
oh" I know. I said, "I'm not a beauty school dropout yet. It's only been a day, so we'll see how that
You
goes."
like this time you'll be getting B's. Okay, I believe in you.
If I don't get A's, and that's why I asked them, I said, "What do I need to do to pass the board?" And they're like, "75%." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "I should at
It's
least
right in
get
my
that."
wheelhouse.
Like,
That's right in my perfect.
I know. I know. Alright. Yeah. Yeah. I know. Yeah. I know. Exactly. Alright.
Cool.
Well,
Well, thanks for
this
tuning
is
in. If
fun.
anyone stayed on
I
this
mean
one,
this is
hey,
we had intended to do this episode to kind of get people caught up with what we're doing. And as you can see, we're just doing a lot and we're working with lots of different companies in different capacities. Some of them we're working on, collaborative opportunities. We have affiliate program. Like, there's a lot that we're working on. So thank you for everyone who's been following us, who's been, supporting us. And, we promise we will get more helpful people on the show, but we just wanted to get on and let help everybody kind of see who we are as people and who they're going to be working with. We like to have fun, but we also work hard and we love what we do, and yeah, we'd love to work with anybody that wants to work with us.
well said. All right, get back to
All
school. Go
right.
hit the books.
Right. Yep.
Bye, everyone.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Matrix Method.